Good morning, boys and girls. It's a pleasure to be with you again on this second video. I miss your smiles and challenges of everyday school days, hoping to be together again, and inshallah things will be okay soon. In this lesson, we're continuing part 2 of relative clauses, but let me remind you of what was given in the first lesson. We explained the use of relative pronouns, who, which, whom, whose, and that. And why do we use them in English? We use relative pronouns to define someone or something, and to give information about a person and about an object. Well, let's repeat again the use of each one. The first relative pronoun is who. We use who, as we said, for people, and who replaces subject and object pronouns. But we are going mainly to use who for subject pronouns. Whom is used also for people. It replaces only object pronouns. Be careful. Whom replaces only object pronouns. Whose is used for possession, and it's always followed by a noun. That is used for both people and things, and it replaces subject and object pronouns. We also explained when it is necessary to use relative pronouns and when it's not necessary to use them. When the relative pronoun is related to the subject in the sentence, it's necessary to use it. And when the relative pronoun is related to the object in the sentence, we can delete it, and it's not necessary to use it. Now, we will be using them to answer the following exercises, so pay attention and follow with me. Look at this worksheet in front of you. Our objective of the first exercise is to recognize the use of each relative pronoun and to choose the suitable one and write it in the blank space. Number 1, this is the bank was robbed yesterday. If you ask what was robbed yesterday, the answer is the bank. So the bank is the subject in this sentence. And to define the bank, be careful the word which is before the blank space. To define the bank, we choose the relative pronoun which. So let me write which here. The sentence becomes, this is the bank which was robbed yesterday. Now, is it necessary to use the relative pronoun which in this sentence? Yes, it's necessary because it defines the subject in this sentence. So it is necessary to use it. It cannot be dropped. Sentence 2, a boy's sister is in my class, was in the bank at that time. A boy's sister is in my class, was in the bank at that time. We want to define a boy's sister, his sister. This sentence shows position, and sister, which is after the blank space, is a noun. So the relative pronoun, which is always followed by a noun, is whose, as we said. Let me write whose in sentence number 2. And the sentence now is, a boy whose sister, and we mean his sister, is in my class, was in the bank at that time. Is it necessary to use the relative pronoun whose? Yes, always use whose. Whose cannot be dropped. It's necessary always to use whose. Now in sentence number 3, the man robbed the bank, had 2 pistols. The man robbed the bank, had 2 pistols. We want to define the noun, the man, which is before the blank space. If you ask yourself who robbed the bank, the answer is the man robbed the bank. So the man is the subject in this sentence. Therefore, we use who here in this sentence. Let's write who to define the man. And now the sentence is, the man who robbed the bank had 2 pistols. So the man is the subject in this sentence. And who defines the man. So we cannot drop who because it's necessary. Number 4, he wore a mask, made him look like Mickey Mouse. We want to define a mask, and the mask is something. Okay, so we choose a suitable relative pronoun to define the mask. He wore a mask which made him look like Mickey Mouse. He wore a mask which made him look like Mickey Mouse. What made him look like Mickey Mouse? If you ask yourself, the mask made him look like Mickey Mouse. So the mask in this sentence is the subject. Therefore, we use which, and which defines a subject, so it cannot be dropped. 5, he came with a friend, waited outside in the car. We want to define a friend. If you ask, who waited outside in the car? A friend waited outside in the car. So a friend in this sentence is the subject. Let's choose a suitable relative pronoun here to define a friend, which is the subject. The relative pronoun or the suitable relative pronoun is who. He came with a friend who waited outside. So who is related to the subject in this sentence? So we cannot drop who. It's necessary to use who. 6, the woman gave him the money was young. The woman gave him the money was young. Who gave him the money? The woman gave him the money. So to define the woman, we use the relative pronoun who. The woman who gave him. Let's write who. The woman who gave him the money was young. Who defines the subject in this sentence, which is the woman? So it's necessary to use who, and you cannot drop it. 7, the bag contained the money was yellow. We want to define the bag. The bag is something, so we choose which to define the bag. Let's write which. The bag, which. We say the bag contained the money. So the bag is the subject in this sentence. Therefore, it's necessary to use which because it defines a subject. 8, the people were in the bank were very frightened. The people were in the bank were very frightened. We want to define the people here. So we say the people who were in the bank. Let's write who were in the bank were very frightened. People in this sentence is the subject. So we cannot drop who is necessary. 9, a man mobile was ringing, did not know what to do. A man mobile was ringing, did not know what to do. As if you are saying his mobile. So the sentence shows position. The mobile belongs to the man. And the correct relative pronoun to use here is whose, because whose is used for position. So whose. Whose is always followed by a noun. And look at mobile, which is after the blank space. Mobile is a noun, and the mobile belongs to the man. So whose is used here. Whose is always necessary to be used. You cannot drop whose. It's necessary. Sentence 10. A woman, daughter was crying, tried to calm her. A woman, daughter, her daughter. So daughter belongs to the woman. It shows position. Was crying, tried to calm her. So also this sentence, it shows position. The woman's daughter. So we use the relative pronoun whose to show position. And as we said, whose is necessary always to be used and it cannot be dropped. 11. The car the bank robbers escaped in was orange. Now we want to define the car. The car is something, so we use which. The car, which the bank robbers escaped in was orange. So look at the part of the sentence that follows the blank space. It says the bank robbers escaped. Escaped in what? The bank robbers escaped in the car, and we want to define the car. So the car is object in this sentence. Which defines the car? So which here, we said before that which replaces a subject and object pronouns, which here replaces the car, which is the object. Therefore, you can drop which. So if we can drop a relative pronoun, we can put it between brackets to show that it is not necessary. We can say the sentence both ways. The car which the bank robbers escaped in was orange, or you can drop which and say the car the bank robbers escaped in was orange. 12. The robber the child saw didn't drive. We want to define the robber. Someone. Look at the second part. The child saw. Who? The child saw the robber. So the child is the subject here, and the robber is the object. To define an object, we use the relative pronoun whom. And again, whom replaces an object pronoun. It defines the robber, and the robber is the object. So it's possible here to drop whom. Therefore, we can put it between brackets. You can say the sentence both ways. The robber the child saw didn't drive, or the robber whom the child saw didn't drive. Number 13. The man drove the car, was nervous. Who drove the car? The man. So the man is the subject of this sentence. So we use who to define the man. Let's write who. Who defines a subject, so it's necessary here to use it. It's not possible to drop it. He didn't wait at the traffic lights were red. What was red? The traffic lights. Traffic lights is something, not someone. So we choose the relative pronoun which. Now let's decide if which replaces a subject pronoun or an object pronoun. Which here replaces a subject pronoun, because we say traffic lights were red, so it's necessary to be used and it's not possible to drop it. The last one in sentence 15, a police officer car, as if we are saying his car. So this sentence also shows position. Was parked at the next corner, stopped and arrested them. So to show position, we use the relative pronoun whose. And as we said, whose is always necessary to be used and you cannot drop it. Be careful that the noun follows whose. Car is the noun. Now in this exercise, you have to decide whether the relative pronoun is necessary or not. We mentioned, or we said that when the relative pronoun is necessary, so it is relating to the subject. It defines a subject. And when it is not necessary, therefore it modifies or defines an object. In sentence 16, let's read the sentence. This is the picture that Jane painted. Jane painted the picture. Now we have the relative pronoun that. Jane painted the picture and we are modifying the picture. The picture is an object in this sentence. So that defines an object. Therefore, it's not necessary to be used. So Answer B is the correct answer. The relative pronoun is not necessary. In 17, do you know the man who is speaking on the phone? The man is speaking on the phone. We are defining the man, and the man in this sentence is the subject. Who defines a subject, so it is necessary to be used. So A is the correct answer. We ate the sweets which my mother had bought. My mother had bought what? The sweets. And we want to define the sweets. The sweets is the object in this sentence. Therefore, which defines an object. So the relative pronoun which is not necessary here. You can drop which and say the sentence this way. We ate the sweets my mother had bought. 19. Is this the boy who plays the piano? The boy plays the piano. Who defines the boy? And the boy is the subject. Therefore, who, the relative pronoun who, is necessary in this sentence. And the last one, this is the house that was broken into. That modifies or defines the house that was broken into. So that here is necessary because the house in this sentence is the subject. Therefore, the relative pronoun that is necessary. In the last exercise, you have to fill in the spaces with the correct relative pronoun. Remember, the relative pronoun that can replace who and which. So it's possible to use that instead of who and which. Look at sentence number 1. The man came first in the 100-meter race, broke the world record. We want to define the man. Who came first in the 100-meter race? The man. So the man is the subject. So we use the relative pronoun who. Is it possible to use that instead of who? Let's say the sentence with that. The man that came first in the 100-meter race broke the world record. So that is okay here. The man who or that came first in the 100-meter race broke the world record. 2. At the zoo, there is a parrot can talk to the people. We want to define parrot. Parrot is an animal, something. So we use which can talk to the people. The parrot can talk to the people, so it is the subject, which defines a subject, which is the parrot. Is it possible to use that? Yes, it's possible also to use that. At the zoo, there is a parrot that can talk to the people, or which can talk to the people. Do you know the woman Sun is a famous actor? Sun is a noun. Sun, the woman's son. This sentence also shows position. And when showing position, you have to use the suitable or the correct relative pronoun whose. Do you know the woman whose son? Be careful, that son is a noun and whose is always followed by a noun. Whose son is a famous actor. 4. I really like the suit you bought for the wedding. We want to define suit. The suit is something, not someone. So we choose the relative pronoun which. I really like the suit which you bought. You bought the suit. So the suit here is the object. Therefore, you can drop which in this sentence and you can say, I really like the suit you bought for the wedding. Is it okay to use that in this sentence? Yes, it's also possible to use that. I really like the suit that you bought for the wedding. Thank you for joining me in this video, and inshallah we're going to be together in another video. Thank you.